effect on nature can best be seen on the Galapagos Islands. Lying on the equator, 600 miles off the coast of South America, these remote islands are steeped in some of El Nino's warmest waters. Here, the ocean determines who wins and who loses during an El Nino. But no animal is left untouched. In the overheated seas of the 1982-83 El Nino, fish-loving Galapagos penguins starved, losing nearly 80% of their population. But tortoises and finches, land-based creatures, flourished on the suddenly verdant islands.
The mystery of the Galapagos is how the species on these islands have adapted over the millennia to the occurrence of El Nino, and how that's changed the course of evolution. We haven't thought of it in these terms before, but El Nino is a very strong force in evolution of the species, at least in this region.
Perhaps the strongest evidence of El Nino's evolutionary influence was seen in 1982, when El Nino returned to the Galapagos. It poured rain for 8 months over these island deserts, triggering an extraordinary response in some of the animals. The medium ground finch, one of the 14 species of birds known as Darwin's finches, always exists with a range of beak sizes. But in the drought that preceded El Nino, large beaks dominated. Then, within just a few months of the onset of the El Nino rains, conditions began to strongly favor birds with smaller beaks. The little beaks were far better suited to feed on the small, softer grass seeds prevalent in the moist climate than the bigger, harder cactus seeds that normally dominate these islands. During the El Nino, the finches began reproducing at a feverish pace. Some birds bred not once, as might be expected, but 8 times. Even juveniles as young as 3 months old started breeding. The change in the climate had turned the finches into mating machines. By the time the rain stopped, the population of all finches had skyrocketed. But continuing abundance of small seeds greatly favored birds with small beaks. On one island, the population of medium ground finches, once dominated by big beaks, had shifted dramatically. This group was now mostly smaller beaked. These finches were changing their form in response to El Nino. Evolution is normally thought to operate on time scales of thousands of years. But here was clear evidence of natural selection producing striking changes in mere months. The remarkable ability of a species to respond to the climate takes a long time to incorporate into a population of animals. And it suggests that El Nino has been visiting these islands for a very long time.
I think it's fair to say that as long as there has been a Pacific basin whose boundaries are approximately those of today, that El Ninos have been occurring. Now, the present boundaries of the Pacific basin were established about 3 to 5 million years